Attention passionate Cleveland, Brownss fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Cleveland Brownss fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention to the NFL over the past few weeks, you've seen how unpredictable this season has been. Especially in the AFC North, a division that's always been fiercely competitive, and right now, it's more intense than ever. The Cleveland Browns, a team that's had its ups and downs in recent years, but always with a core of passionate fans and a defense that can stand toe-to-toe with anyone, are now at a crossroads. This season has shown glimpses of what this team can be when everything clicks, but there's also a looming question mark hanging over their defense, particularly in the secondary, which has been a key factor in their recent performances. The Browns have been playing some solid football overall, especially on defense, which has kept them competitive in most games. But injuries are starting to pile up, and that's raising serious concerns. Just a couple of weeks ago, their secondary took a hit when DJ Reed suffered a hamstring injury during the game against the Lions, and that injury was serious enough to land him on injured reserve. Now, Reed is expected to be out through the Browns' Week 8 bye, which means the team will be without one of its top cornerbacks for a significant chunk of the season. As we all know, Reed's presence on the field is crucial, especially given how he's been one of their most reliable defenders in coverage this year. But it doesn't stop there. Last week, things got even more complicated when Terrion Arnold, another key piece in the Browns' secondary, went down with a shoulder injury. Arnold had to leave the field on a cart, which is never a good sign. The initial reports indicated that he'd be out a long time, and the injury is serious enough that it's cast doubt on whether he'll return anytime soon. The combination of Reed and Arnold being sidelined leaves the Browns with a vastly depleted secondary, and that's where things get really interesting for the NFL trade deadline, which is coming up fast on November 4th. Now, here's the thing. The Detroit Lions, a team that's been on fire lately with a 4-game winning streak, are desperately looking to bolster their secondary. With DJ Reed and Terrion Arnold both unavailable, the Lions are in the market for experienced, talented cornerbacks who can step in immediately and make a difference. And one of the top names that's been floated around as a potential target is none other than Greg Newsome II, from our Cleveland Browns. Yes, Newsome, a player who's been a key part of Cleveland's defense, is now catching the attention of rival teams, especially with the Lions' secondary looking so thin. Christopher Knox, from Bleacher Report, recently ranked Newsome as the number 9 player on his list of the league's top trade targets with less than a month to go before the deadline. And it's easy to see why. Newsome is playing in his 5th year, and he's on a contract year, which makes him even more attractive for teams looking to add talent without giving up too much. The Browns, as we know, are in a bit of a rebuild mode, and with their rookie quarterback Dillon Gabriel taking the reins, they're already looking toward the future. Trading Newsome could make sense for Cleveland, especially if they want to maximize their draft assets and focus on developing their new quarterback. Now, let's talk about his value. Knox projected Newsome's trade value at a conditional 4th-round pick, which isn't a huge price for a player of his caliber, especially considering his experience and potential. The Lions, or any team interested in bolstering their secondary, might be willing to pay a bit more, especially if Cleveland's season begins to slip further away from playoff contention in the coming weeks. The Browns have a history of making tough decisions in these scenarios, and with Newsome's contract situation, he's on a team option worth just over $13 million. There's a real possibility that he could be moved if the fit is right. Newsome, of course, was a first-round pick in 2021, and he's shown flashes of brilliance, especially in coverage. Initially, he was an outside cornerback, but with Martin Emerson Jr. joining the Browns in 2022 and eventually winning that outside spot, Newsome was moved inside to nickel. That move has allowed him to showcase his versatility, and he's been solid in that role. But with Emerson suffering an Achilles tendon injury in the preseason, Newsom returned to outside corner, which is where he prefers to play. If Cleveland trades him, he'd get the chance to return outside with Detroit, at least temporarily, as their secondary situation is pretty dire right now. The injury concerns for Cleveland are real. DJ Reed's hamstring is a big issue, especially considering he thought his season might be over when he initially hurt himself, fearing a torn hamstring that could have been catastrophic. Meanwhile, Arnold's shoulder injury is also serious, with the initial prognosis suggesting he'd be out a long time. But there's hope that with a second opinion, he might return later in October, which would be a huge boost for Cleveland. Still, with both Reed and Arnold potentially unavailable for the upcoming games against the Chiefs and Buccaneers, the Browns need immediate help in the secondary. Enter Greg Newsome II. His ability to step back outside if Reed is not ready, or to move inside if Arnold returns, makes him a valuable commodity for the Browns. Trading him now could help Cleveland address their secondary needs, especially given the upcoming tough schedule. The Browns face the Kansas City Chiefs and Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the next couple of weeks, and having reliable cornerbacks who can match up against elite receivers is crucial. But what about Newsome's future in Cleveland? Well, as I mentioned earlier, he's on a contract year, and while the Browns value him highly, they're also in a position where they might consider trading him to accelerate their rebuild and focus on developing younger players and draft picks. This move could also be a way to replenish their draft capital, which is always vital when you're aiming for long-term success. The Browns have been building a solid defense, and Newsome has been a big part of that, but the NFL is a business, and sometimes, tough decisions have to be made for the greater good of the franchise. Let's not forget, Cleveland's defense has been the backbone of their success this season. They've been competitive in most games, thanks to players like Newsome, and their defensive schemes have kept them in contests even when their offense has struggled at times. But every good defense needs depth and reliable players across all positions, especially in the secondary. The injuries have exposed some vulnerabilities, and that's why the trade deadline is such a pivotal moment for the Browns. They could choose to hold on to Newsome and hope their secondary recovers, or they could capitalize on his value and bring in something that could help them immediately or in the future. In terms of team strategy, Cleveland's management has shown they're willing to make bold moves when necessary. They've been patient with their rebuild, but they also understand that the NFL waits for no one. If a trade for Newsome can help them gain a competitive edge, especially in a division as tight as the AFC North, they might pull the trigger. And with the Lions' desperate need at cornerback, there's a real possibility that Cleveland could get a solid draft pick or even a young player in return, which aligns with their long-term plans. So, Browns fans, this is something to watch closely over the next few weeks. The potential trade of Greg Newsome II is not just about one player moving teams. It's about the strategic future of Cleveland's defense and their quest for another deep playoff run. Newsome's versatility, experience, and current contract situation make him a hot commodity, and the upcoming games will be crucial in determining whether Cleveland decides to keep him or move him for the benefit of the organization. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think Cleveland should trade Newsome, or do you believe he's a key part of their future? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Browns. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news. This season is shaping up to be one of the most exciting in recent memory, and with everything happening right now, it's clear that the Browns are in a pivotal moment. Buckle up, Browns fans, because the next few weeks could bring some major surprises.